Story Seekers. Today we're going to talk about books. You are now watching Elizziebooks. In particular, we're talking about I Hunt Killers by Lyga, and this book came out in, I believe, April. It is about a boy named Jazz who was raised by a serial killer father in order to be, one day, a very great serial killer. So throughout the novel, Jazz has his internal battle, I should say, with good versus evil. Am I going to be good? Am I going to be evil? How do I prove to the world that I can be a good person? A little bit of nature versus nurture with some other good versus evil and things like that. It's very, I believe that it was a very interesting and compelling novel. I read it in about 10 hours. Very edge of your seat, very takes you out of your own mindset and puts you into Jazz's mindset and goes, oh my gosh, can I be good? Can I be evil? Like purest of pure evil. And although his father is in prison, his father has that voice of authority in his head of like, you can do this. You can really do some damage on this person. And Jazz is just totally just going against all of that. All the while having a great best friend, a great girlfriend, and taking care of his insane grandmother. Speaking of those characters, I loved the different characters in this novel. I loved the contrast between Jazz and Howie, and how like Jazz was like, you know, all the girls loved him and he's just like this strong guy and all this stuff, and Howie's like this hemophiliac kid who is easily bruised and, you know, probably can't get a girlfriend to save his life, and just, it's a lovely friendship, particularly in the morgue scene, and that brings a lot of like, not tension in like their friendship, but just tension in that scene where it's just like, Howie's nose is bleeding, what do we do? How do we take care of this? Ah. It's just a really fun book with those two characters being so contrasted, and just like such a good character and such a character that, you know, is battling this good versus evil all of the time, every single second of the day. I love Connie. She's Jazz's girlfriend, and she just gets in his face and is like, this is how it is, this is who you are, and if you could do this, you would have done it, and you can't, and you're not going to, so just deal with your life and stop trying to like bring everybody else's into your pity party. Sometimes you just really need those characters in YA to be like, come on main character, why do you keep crying about this all the time? Just figure it out and stop dragging everybody else into it, because, you know, you get to that point where you're like, oh my gosh, Jazz, we get it. We get you're struggling. We understand. We got it now. So she's that character who kind of brings him down to earth and is like, you're just a human kid, and yeah, it sucks how you grew up, but you can be a totally different person, and I can see that you're gonna be a totally different person because this is something that is making you feel very, very guilty. And I feel like a lot of times when, you know, a character is feeling a lot of guilt, it's because they're such a good person most of the time. Because when you see him go visit his father in prison, and his father is just like, yeah, it's just a bunch of fun and games with all this serial killer business. Words, they are coming today. But yeah, it's just like you have that contrast between him and other characters, and just seeing how he reacts to those characters, and, you know, with G. William being kind of like that Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then his father's kind of like that Darth Vader kind of character who's just like, yeah, I killed some people, it's the pride of my life, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa, dude. As you can tell, G. William is one of my favorite characters. He just brought in the good, he's like, I believe that you're a good kid. Like, if I didn't, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. You would be behind bars. So there you have it. So there are some wicked characters, there's some really good characters, just so well written. As far as the setting goes, all we know is that it's in a small town, and that kind of lends itself to being like, oh, everybody knows everything about everyone, and gossiping and things like that. I know this book is being marketed to people who love Dexter, but I would say that this book could be marketed to anybody who loves like those Suburbia or Stepfather, or just thrillers like that where, yeah, there's probably blood and things like that, but it's more about the, oh my gosh, what's about to happen, those kinds of things where you're sitting on the edge of your seat going, oh my gosh, what is about to happen? Is somebody gonna get stabbed? I forgot this like integral part of the story in the summary, but basically Jazz is going after this guy who is replicating his father's murders, and basically like this guy is like, you know, doing almost the same exact things. He's called the Impressionist. I feel like this novel was very well done. I felt like it was very original. I haven't read or watched anything that is particularly like that before. You really don't get to see in the inside of a head of a could-be serial killer very often, unless you watch certain kinds of movies like that, because I read a lot of YA, but very rarely do I get to read something like this. And, you know, I think that it's fun to see some thrilling kind of things happen in books. So I liked it. So that is all. I hope you all have a great day and keep reading.